Hi friends, let's see the app we are going to develop in the next couple of lessons. When you run this app, this is the main option screen. You will see a menu which is on a table view. So I can click on say employee options, then it will load this data, and all the employee data are loaded dynamically from a data source, right? And then I can click on employee, and then it's dynamically changing this page with that particular employee and the projects. If I go back and click another employee, you can see the same page is dynamically changing with that employee and the projects, which are all loaded dynamically. The images are also loaded dynamically from a data source, right? So it's different images loaded dynamically. And then I can delete employees. Let's say I can swipe and say delete, then it deletes the data, right? If not, I can click on edit and say if I want to delete something, click on this and click delete, right? And when I'm done, I can say done, right? And then further I can insert data dynamically. Let us say a section P and say Peter, for example, and click OK. So it all gets added dynamically, right? Then once I'm done with employees, I can go scroll down, right? And then I can go into department options, right? So department, and do the same thing for department, right? But it's very important that you have to make sure to look at the next couple of lectures in this on table views, that is part 1, 2, 3, etc., until we complete this app. It explains all the theory and the practical knowledge which you need to know about developing this app, right? Okay friends, we are very excited to show you how to develop this app practically, and let's do it now. Okay friends, so the following is the outcome of this part of the lesson. When you complete this part of the lesson, your app will look like this until you complete the other parts of the lesson. It will have a static menu taken from a static table view controller. You click on it, you can dig detail, and then in this you will be embedding a table view, right, into a view controller. But there's a special technique for you to apply to get this done, and let's see how. That's what you'll see in this, right? But after you complete this lesson, make sure to go and look at the next lessons in order to complete the full app demonstrated earlier. Okay guys, so this lesson is about table views, lesson 1C, table view controller with static content, continuation of the previous lesson 1B. Tools used, we'll be using Xcode version 11.4.1 for practicals and Apple Developer Docs for referencing. The prerequisites, guys, you will have to look at the previous lessons on table views on Objective in this channel. That is lesson 1A and 1B. Just have a look at it and look at some of the previous basic lessons in Objective-C as well. In this lesson, you will learn more about, it's like this. In this lesson, you will learn about the UI table view controller, because in the previous two lessons, we were using let me show it to you. In the previous two lessons, we were using, let me go into this and show it to you. So let's straight away look at our previous project, right? So then you will get a clear idea about what I'm trying to say. Let's open our previous project, right? File open. Okay, so let's open the lesson 1B, right? So that's the last project we did, right? Now in the previous project, this is our previous project. So when you add components, right? So what you added was a table view controller, right? And you added the table view controller. But there's another thing called table view. So what we have done so far is UI table view controller. But now what I'm talking is the UI table view, right? So that's the point here, right? That's what. So the UI table view, right? So the component, right? So in this session, you will be talking about the UI table view component and adding a static table view. And then we will be discussing about static table views versus static views, so stack views, right? So static table views versus stack views. So what are stack views? Stack views we discussed in one of our previous lessons, that is coming under adaptive UI, right? So if you don't know about stack views, have a look at our series on adaptive UI, adaptive user interfaces, where we talk about stack views. So now in this lesson we are talking about static table views versus stack views, and container views. We are talking about container views and practical code examples, right? Awesome, right? So let's let's do it now, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this and make a copy of this previous project, guys, right? Close the project, and let's make a copy of this lesson 1b, guys, right? Let's quickly make it as lesson 1c, right? Awesome. Lesson 1c, right? Lesson 1c, and let's open this in Xcode, guys, right? Okay, file, open. So let's open lesson 1c, 1b, 1c. Okay, so let's copy of 1b, so it says 1b, but let's rename it, my friends, right? So it says lesson 1b. Just to make it sure, let's close it and let's quickly open it once again. Okay, file, open. Okay, file, open, lesson 1, guys, then lesson 1c. Okay, all good. It's a copy of lesson 1b, doesn't matter. Now let's rename this, guys, as 1c, and let's say rename. Let's say okay, right? Awesome. Right, and let's go into the main storyboard and let's have a quick look at this is what we have done so far, my friends, right? So now let's try to add that concepts we were talking into this, right? So straight away what I'm going to do is, let's assume, okay, let's build this. It's important to build this and run and see whether it works to the level we have done it, right? So let's run. Okay, it works. Employee, so let's say selecting one of the employees, right? And let's say when I select one of the employees, I want to have a list of the projects the employees assigned to, right? The list of projects. So then again, it's a list, right? So to display a list of projects, you might think of using a list like that. A list is a table view, right? A table view. So let's try to put a table view and see whether we can do it, right? Inside this, because I'm going to embed inside this, I'm not going to put a table view controller, because if I take a table view controller, right? Look, the difference is this. Now, a table view you can place inside, right? A table view you can place inside, right? Inside a view inside a container, right? So view controller, right? So if I take this view controller, if I take this inside this view controller, now I have placed a table view, whatever what I placed, right? But in generally, if you take that's a table view, but if you try to take a table view controller, right, and if you try to place a table view controller, you don't normally put a table view controller inside a view controller, right? You don't do it normally, right? So let me see what happened. I undo that. Let me redo it once again, right? Redo. So I got the table view, but if I want to put a table view controller, I can't put it inside. It's always outside thing, right? So now what I want is, just we'll start like that. What I want is not that I want to not that I want it outside, right? I want the projects to be inside. Now that is why instead of putting a table view controller, that is why I'm putting a table view. A table view you can put inside like this, right? Let's put only one first, which is this, right? And let's see what's going to happen now. Now let's, if I put a table view and let's say using our previous knowledge, let's say I'm going to constrain the, say, vertical spacing, and let's say I'm going to uh, have, let's say, constrain, I don't know, to the trailing space, and let's say I'm going to constrain to the leading space, right? Let's say I have that, and let's say now, because it's a table view, right? Let's say that I'm clicking on it and I'm telling okay, I like earlier static etc. But let's run this first, right, without doing any change. Let's build and see. Product, build, right? Let's see what's going to be the result, right? Okay, it says build succeeded, right? Let's see whether there are any issues. No, right? Okay, so it says build succeeded, right? So let's run and see what's happening without much of a change. So I have put a table view now into that particular form over here, right? But still I don't see anything because I haven't added any content or anything like that. Now let us say that I want to have some static cells, like some static data, right? Because this is an example, right? Still we have not touched dynamic ones. Dynamic ones we'll be touching on lesson 2 of table views. This is lesson 1C, right? After lesson 1C we'll be doing lesson 2A. Lesson 2A will touch about dynamic table views, right? But this is a static one. So now I want it to be static. So I'm selecting the table view and I'm telling, okay, the content has to be static cells, right? And then I'm expanding it, and then I got a view, and let's say see 3 rows. Say let's say there are 3 projects, right? Let's say Anne is working on 3 projects, so 3 rows. Because of that, you got the table view cells, right? Now let's think that you are doing your basic stuff, right? Like, you know, let's say a project, and let's say you are telling, okay, you have done this in the previous lesson, right? Disclosure indicator, and let's say you got the title and, you know, whatever the details, let's say you have them, right? Now let's make this also, let's say write detail, right? And let's say accessory, right? I'm just giving example. Let's select this also, and let's say, okay, write detail and accessory disclosure indicate, and then you can go and type the labels, right? Whatever it is, you have done it. But now after you do that, let's say even the title of the label, say you type, say project 1, right? Now say that you want to list the projects where Anne is working, right? And so that when you click on each project, that you can you want to display more details in another table view, right? Think like that, right? So then title, right? Project, say project 2. Okay, right? So project 2. Okay, right? So I got now. How about running this and checking whether, now that's all we have to do basically, right? You put the table view, you make it static cells, isn't it, right? And then you will say how many rows for the section, right? And then you, on each cell, you give the style. That's what we did, and a accessory, that's it, and you give the titles, right, for each one. That's all. How about running this now, right? So how about compiling this first? So product build, right? Let's build this, right? Let's see what I'm going to get, right? Oh, it says build fail, guys. Did you see that? See, guys. Now, I did the same, what I would normally do for a table view, right? But it says build fail. Now, where is the compile errors? Okay, in Objective-C, to see the compile errors, you have to go to this tab over here, which is show the issue. Look at my mouse. Show the issue navigator. So when you go to the issue navigator, the yellow ones are warnings. What I'm concerned mostly is about the red ones. So see, in the red ones it says illegal configuration. Look at my mouse, illegal configuration. It says static table views are only valid when embedded in UI table view controller instances. Read it once again. It says illegal configuration, static table views, because I have a static table view, right? Because in this table view I have made it, see, look at the property, static. But it says static table views are only valid when embedded in UI table view controller. That means in Objective-C, if you want a static table view, it has to be inside a UI table view controller. So now this table view is not inside a UI table view controller. This table view, okay, this one, okay, this table view is in a view controller. So the in Objective-C, the rule is you can't put a table view inside a view controller, but it should always come inside a table view controller. For example, if you look at this one, in this you got a table view, but that table view, if you click and look at the property palette, it's in a table view controller. Whereas now this table view, right? See, this table view, where is it? If you click it, it's in a view controller. So you can't have it in a view controller. That's why this one worked. So this one works because this table view you got here is inside a, if you click here, see, it's, look at my mouse, it's inside a table view controller. So the error says you can't put static table views. You can put them, right, only inside a table view controller. Now the question is, why is it like this? Because of course you have a screen, right, which about description about the employee. So you can't put a table view controller here. I showed to you earlier, right? You can't put, because you can't put a table view controller inside, it doesn't allow, right? Let me show you once again. So a table view controller you can't put here. I'm trying to put you, because it's not allowed. Now then the question is, how do you do this? Because you can't put a table view controller, because if you put a table view controller, well, it comes out. Then of course what you have to do is, you have to put a button or something here and say click here to view the projects, right? So what you have to do then is, if this is the case, you'll have to put a button here and say, right, you have to put a button here, and then you have to delete this. You have to delete this table view. You can't put it, so I'm going to delete it, right? And then you put a button here and you will say, okay, click to view the projects, right? Here you will say click here to view the projects of this employee, right? So of this particular employee, right? Projects of this employee, right? Let's say click here to view the projects of this employee, right? So if I give a little say bold, right? I'm just showing you something like this, right? So click here, and if you want you can yeah, just I'm showing, right? So click here to view the projects of this employee, right? Now the thing is, this is one option, right? But there's another option, right? So instead of doing this, let's say if you want to show it here, right, not in a new table view, okay, then you are going to delete the button, but you can't say that you don't want to show it in another screen, right? Think like that, then you delete that. The question is, how do you show it here? Now that is what we call here in this discussion about static table views versus stack views. Now if you look at if you read a little bit about iOS development, what is recommended in a situation like this is not a static table view. Instead of that, what is recommended is a stack view, which we did in the previous lesson series on adaptive UI. So you remember in adaptive UI we introduced stack views. So in a situation like this, what is sometimes recommended is not a static table view. What is recommended is to put a stack view, right? What is recommended is to put a stack view, which means over here, for you to put a stack view, guys, right? Let's say horizontal or vertical stack view. So you put a vertical stack view, right? And then into the vertical stack view, you will be adding, say, buttons. It's clickable, right? You want to click, right? So clickable means buttons, right? So you will be adding the buttons, right? So this is the stack view. Look at my mouse, guys, over here. See the stack view. So I'm going to drag it. You remember we did this lesson. So look at our previous lesson on adaptive UI, right? In this channel, adaptive UI. So then you put a couple of buttons, right? So let us say like this, right? You put a couple of buttons over here, which then you can call this button as project 1, for example, and then the second one as project 2, likewise, right? And say project 2, right? And then you can make it look you can give a larger font size and stuff like that. You can make it bold. So what I'm telling is, so this is like what is recommended instead of a static table view, right?